I like reverse mortgages for the simple fact that it can stem that tide of funds that are outgoing. And typically a mortgage is a homeowner's largest expense. And if we can push that down or eliminate it, that might stem the tide so they can bridge the gap and not take an early Social Security payment.
Hi, this is Dave Steinberg. This is the Mortgages Made Easy podcast. We're here with Jeff Thomas. Jeff is a loan officer with Primary Residential in Northern Virginia. Both Jeff and I are certified liability advisors. That means that we're trained to help people like you understand how to manage your liabilities to get the best outcome. And what's a good example of someone who encounters a problem where our services would be very valuable?
Thanks, Dave. Well, the first one is a client coming to us with the possibility that they're going to lose their job, and that's kind of a scary situation. And so for me, some of the questions that I ask them would be, age-based questions. Where are they? Are they closer to this age 60, or are they under that 60?
So let's say they're under 60.
Okay.
Where do you take that?
First question is how much equity do you have in your property? Do you have enough? Because I would go with what we're really looking for is some sort of bridge where they are now to where they're going to be, which is be new employment. And so that would be initially would be looking at a home equity line of credit, in my opinion.
And the other thing that I would talk about to someone in that situation is their debt management, right? Because you want to make sure that you do three things. Number one, you stabilize their debt. Number two, if this is in the horizon, I would look at what strategies can we implement to reduce their their lifestyle expenses, so that they can coast until they get that next job. And then number three is where's that bucket of money that we can access? So those are, I would say, the three stages of this.
Right. No, I agree. Because you have to know what's going out before you can help stem the tide. And so that would be the liability or the debt management, seeing what's coming out, and then how much do we have access to? What's that third bucket? That bucket is the equity in the property, and how do we possibly get access to it?
And one of the things that's critical if you're in that situation, or if you're a financial advisor and your client is in that situation, is timing. And timing is important, because if you're employed now, you can get that mortgage, but the day you lose your job, that becomes much harder to access the equity in your home. So you have to be strategic about this, don't you?
Correct. Right. And that follows one of the things I try to recommend to most clients, to get a home equity line before they think they need it. I'm sure you do the same as well. It saved a couple of people, but yeah, it's really, really hard to get a home equity line if you don't have a job.
Now, I don't know how old you are. You can judge by my white hair that I'm of age for Social Security. So if you're of age to start drawing Social Security, this is like almost stepping on a landmine. You have to watch that, because the mistake that some people do is they turn their Social Security on too early. I'm not saying you should wait till 70 before you turn it on, but you should do the analysis. For me, I decided to turn my Social Security on at 68 and a half. that was the right number for me based on life expectancy. But drawing it too early means you're going to be taking a lower payment for the duration of your life.
Right.
And that's something to watch out. And so we can do a home equity line for someone like that, but there's also the reverse mortgages. What do you have to say about reverse mortgages? Is that a good solution?
Well, I think it depends if it is a good solution, I think is the right answer, but I like reverse mortgages for the simple fact that it can stem that tide of funds that are outgoing. And typically a mortgage is a homeowner's largest expense. And if we can push that down or eliminate it, that might stem the tide so they can bridge the gap and not take an early Social Security payment, which again might be the best thing financially.
Yeah. So for some people who, let's say 63, 62, 63, 64, in their younger 60s, who are at risk of losing their job, stage one might be to analyze the options for a reverse mortgage. And then once they do that, they can, if it makes sense, you could do the reverse mortgage, pay off the existing mortgage, and then should you lose the job, you could then start making draws on that reverse mortgage to carry you through to when you're ready to pull retirement, or when you're ready to start drawing on your IRA.
Right. I think a good term probably would be something like Social Security stretch or an IRA stretch, where you're stretching those dollars to trying to get the maximum amount out of those funds that you possibly can. And that, as you just said, depends upon when you access them via what age they're accessed. You get more later. So being able to bridge that gap can be huge, have a huge financial impact, positive, if done right.
Now, a lot of people have heard all sorts of negative things about reverse mortgages. What do you think about reverse mortgages?
Personally, I think they've gotten a huge bad rap. And that's mostly an accurate one from the first versions that they came out. But I personally like them because they give flexibility to the homeowner. They actually have to get interviewed by a HUD counselor to make sure they understand what they're doing. So I think the education portion of the reverse mortgages is key to making sure the people that do get it and do want to get it are by the time they get there, it's something that they know and understand. And so I think it's a great program if used correctly.
Yeah. And one of the strategies that I employ is, if you called me up and said, Dave, I'm thinking of reverse mortgage, I would say, let's assemble the brain trust. Let's bring your spouse in, your kids in, your accountant in, your financial advisor in. Let's get everyone on the same page. And by doing that, you make sure that no one's surprised.
Right.
B, you have time to dispel all the myths, and there are myths out there. And then number three, they put you in a situation where you can rigorously address the needs and make sure that it's being done in a rigorous fashion with all the interested parties understanding the ramifications.
Right.
This is great, Jeff. This has been really good. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.